My dear friends, welcome to Rajashekar classes on ethical hacking. This is lecture number 39. In this lecture, we will try to understand network setup in VirtualBox. So, using hypervisor, you can use single computer or host computer to run multiple virtual machines, and we can install separate operating systems in each virtual machine. You can have Apple, Mac OS, Microsoft Windows, Google's Android, Linux operating system, and Apple iOS. Let me assume this one, for example, let me say this one is my host computer, let me say, or host, in which I can create virtual machines. Let me say VM1, let me say VM2, VM3, VM4. In first virtual machine, I can keep which operating system? Apple Mac OS. In second virtual machine, I can keep Microsoft Windows. In third, I can keep Google Android OS. Next one, in VM4, I can keep Linux operating system. Let me assume there is one more virtual machine in which I can keep Apple iOS. Recall two most commonly used hypervisor softwares are VMware and VirtualBox. And in our demonstration, we are mostly using VirtualBox. We will try to understand network setup in the VirtualBox. This is a single computer or host. So whenever you are connecting this host to your network, then there is a question. Let me say this computer is trying to connect with some, let me say it is trying to connect with some network. It is connecting like the outside network. This is, as I told you, this is a single computer or host. So whenever you are connecting this host to your network, then there is a question of unique identity. What is the unique identity? That is IP address. This host will have an IP address, and all these virtual machines, they use network address translation. Just see, all these virtual machines, they use network address translation. By default, VirtualBoxes uses network address translation. Inside each of this VirtualBox, there may be multiple applications running, and each of these applications may want to access some resources in the outside world over the network. When these requests are sent out, there will be some kind of address translation mechanism at the boundary. Let me say this is the boundary. What we are saying here, you have some applications. These are applications. These applications, let me say, there are different applications in each virtual machine. These application wants to communicate with the outside world over this particular network, isn't it? What is the reason? In the outside over the network, these requests are for some resources, isn't it? Inside there may be multiple applications running. In each of these application may want some resources in the outside world. Therefore, they will try to connect with some outside network. Whatever operating system you use inside the virtual machines, whenever you are accessing outside world, so all virtual machines, this is virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3, virtual machine 4. All these virtual machines will be seen to have same IP address. That is important. Yes, let me say like this. This is computer in which I am creating virtual machines. In each virtual machine, I am keeping different operating systems. Now what it says in NAT, NAT means what? Network Address Translator or NAT. In NAT mode, the virtual operating system is separated from outside, that is host system, isn't it? The virtual box itself allocates virtual IPs to the systems installed in it. Now what it says, now this one we can check. Now what's happening here, in each virtual box there are different applications. Let me say these are applications. All these are applications are trying to connect with outside network. Here you have some network. A request will be sent from these applications, all these applications to this request will be sent out, isn't it? Whatever operating system you use inside in the virtual machines, whenever you are accessing outside world, so all the virtual machines will be seen to have same IP address. We can check that all operating systems installed in virtual machines have same IP address, and this IP address will be determined by the network address translator or NAT. NAT will be doing IP address translation from the internal, whatever IP address you are assigning internally, whatever IP address you are assigning for these missions, isn't it? Internally, whatever IP address you are assigning, whenever it goes out, the source address will get modified into one of the NAT addresses. In this mode, you can also connect to the internet. Yes, in this NAT mode, we can also connect to the internet, isn't it? NAT will be doing IP address translation from the internal, whatever IP address you are assigning internally, whenever it goes out, the source address will get modified into one of the NAT addresses. In this mode, you can also connect to the internet in very safe way, so that internet will see whatever that NAT address is. That internet will find the particular IP address all the packets are originating. So your internal IP address will be hidden. They will not be known. In addition, there is another mode called bridge adapter mode. This is useful to establish connection between the host and other systems which are installed inside the virtual box. For that, you need something called bridge adapter. So all these things we will see during demonstration. We will try to demonstrate all these things in our next lecture. There are some alternatives to this virtual box kind of mechanism. What are the alternatives? What does it mean? What are the alternatives for? There are some alternatives to this virtual box kind of mechanism. The reason is simple that when you are using virtual box, it is very easy to use, but the software that you are installing inside the virtual box needs high main memory as well as secondary storage. Typically, you need minimum 4 GB of RAM, isn't it? And 30 to 40 GB of secondary storage. This much space is typically needed whenever you are doing this kind of software setup. So it requires a quite bit of, you can say, storage requirements or some resource requirement, you can say. If you install multiple virtual machines, this requirement even will go up. But for those of you who do not have such large machine, powerful machine with large memory space and affordable large disk space, there is something called Live-Kali. Just see, this is Live-Kali Linux that you can also use. Actually, it is a system where you have the entire Kali Linux system installed on a flash drive, and you plug in the flash drive on your computer. You run Kali Linux directly from USB flash drive. You do not have to install it separately on your machine. This option is also available depending on the kind of environment. Even if you are not able to install VirtualBox, you can install the tools on your machine and try to do the practice. For example, whatever tools are available under Kali Linux, we said that there is a collection of thousands of tools, but most of these tools are freely available individually also. So whatever tools you want to use and practice, you can download them separately and you can install them in your machine. In my next lecture, I will try to demonstrate, I will start demonstrating all these concepts. Just go through this lecture. In next lecture, as I told you, I will demonstrate all these concepts. Thank you very much.